If ICE was actually picking up rapists, they'd be picking you up, Mr. President. They'd be picking your homies up.
You will pet me, whether you like it or not.
Everybody, I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasanabi broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Tuesday. It's Newsday Tuesday, lads. That's right. It's Newsday Tuesday. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. What a hatfish. Don't even come at me like that. Don't even come at me like that with some hatfish my ass. Yeah, right off the jump. 21-month subscriber trying to come at me. Trying to come at me with some nonsense. Anyway, this is it. It's the first day. It's 70 degrees and sunny here in California. It's very cold everywhere else, but it's the first. It's official. The first year of Donald Trump's second term is over today. It feels like it's been a lifetime since January 20th, 2024, or 2025, sorry, but we're here. You're hiding a head surgery scar because they put a new chip in your brain, dude. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's true. They did. They certainly did.
Internet.
They put a new chip in my brain. Wait, what the f***? Donald Trump's doing a press briefing? What the hell?
If they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came or the country.
All right, well, I don't have much personal news. We'll just go right into it. Let's go.
In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because
Holy
he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden,
We're back.
All of the things that all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's been caused by a previous administrator. Look at this, one after one. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that in many cases they're murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers, they're the mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers, they're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane.
As opposed to killers who are very sane. These are mentally insane killers.
It's worse. In other states, it's worse. No, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, troublemakers, but they're paid agitators and insurrectionists. Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota, given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians.
Yeah, the bad kind of crime.
And they don't do
Which
it.
is the Somalian type of crime.
very
All
low
the
IQ
people that he
people, they
pardoned
don't do it.
today, that's
Other
the good
people
kind of
work it
crime,
out.
because those were white
And
criminals,
they get 'em
and
money,
also criminals
and they
who
go
are
out and
directly
buy
connected to Trump.
Mercedes-Benzes, and they come.
See, the Somalians, yeah, they pick these select examples up from jail, not from ICE raids. I know, of course, because ICE does not do apprehensions of like rapist pedophiles. That's local law enforcement, okay? And then those guys go to jail. And then Trump, in an effort to make it seem like every single undocumented immigrant is like a criminal or whatever, will go pick them up from jail and then turn around and say, see, ICE is picking up rapists. You know, ICE is picking up rapists. It's like, no, dude, cops are picking up rapists off the streets, whether undocumented or documented, and then putting them in jail. And then you're going to the jails to do propaganda. And as far as like statistics goes, the amount of violent crime or any kind of crime that undocumented migrants are committing is marginal. Like it is statistically irrelevant in comparison to, you know, American citizens, American born crime. If ICE was actually picking up rapists, they'd be picking you up, Mr. President. They'd be picking your homies up. You missed them saying Somalia isn't a country and Somalians are low IQ. I mean, what's new? But yeah, I mean, it's unimaginably racist.
And these are rough people. These are not. This was all
Do we have
allowed
a blast
into our
off meme
country
chat or
through
no?
open borders. These dumbest policies. You know, men and women's sports is dumb, but to me, having an open border for the world to come in, drug dealers and prisoners. Venezuela, as an example, opened their prisons into the United States. That's why one of the reasons I felt so strongly against Venezuela. Now I'm loving Venezuela. They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice. And
he loves Delcy Rodriguez. He's
unbelievably
like,
nice
the
woman. Also
Chavista.
did a very
They're so good.
incredible thing, as you know, a few days ago. We're talking to her, and maybe we can get her involved in some way. I'd love to be able to do that. Maria maybe we can do that. But we're dealing with the people, the president, and all of the people in Venezuela, and we've been doing great. The oil companies are getting ready to make massive investments there. They have more oil than even Saudi Arabia. There you go.
Here you go. Here
These
you
are
go.
These are rough ones. This is all Minnesota, every one of them. This is one state.
You guys understand that, like,
And
there are millions of people living in Minnesota, right? Like, I hope we understand what's going on here. There are millions of people in Minnesota,
outside of the
and what Donald Trump is doing here is literally picking up people who have committed prior offenses, ranging from like DUIs to rapes and drug trafficking and stuff like that, exclusively on the basis of their immigration status, and making it seem as though he's the one who apprehended these guys. Okay. He did not. And also, it's additionally ironic because when he talks about how these guys are committing fraud, it's like, you're a fraudster. Some of the people that he's bringing up are, they've done domestic violence or like, or domestic abuse. And it's like, you've done that. You're literally, you've been found liable in a civil suit for doing a rape to an American citizen. So like, half of these things that he's pulling up are just that he's done. And not only that, but also, like I keep repeating over and over again, this is a range of people that have done things over the course of like the past decade or so. Okay? You are singling out people on the basis of their documentation status specifically to make it seem like there is this significant undocumented migrant crime taking place. And it's a very dangerous type of propaganda that he's able to put out there. And unfortunately, the Democrats are totally lost. Like they cannot push back against this shit at all. They can't just be like, hey man, those guys were in prison. Like Joe Biden put him in prison. You put him in prison. You know what I mean? Like those guys they've done the crime and now they're doing the time. Like as is what is supposed to happen. Okay? I don't know about you, but I personally want someone to go to prison if they've done a heinous crime against myself or someone else, right? Like I want them to go to prison. I don't want them to potentially be free in another country. Like I want them to go to jail, okay? I want justice to be served. So that's what's so frustrating about this entire process. And the point that these guys have been making over and over again, or have been making since last year or 2 years ago, was that Joe Biden was just not putting undocumented immigrants in jail for doing crimes. And that was okay.
Person that's a professional. These are professional agitators and professional people that want to see our country do badly. But that's not happening because we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, despite this stuff.
Your mom brought you here for birth tourism, big L. Birth tourism? What does that mean?
Criminals. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be well behaved here. I could do thousands.
I'm an American citizen, big dog.
Fairly short while. Just in Minnesota.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm an American citizen. Okay, so sucks to suck for you, birth tourist.
Criminals. Now, how can a place with 10,000 criminals? How can you have a state? And yet they're fighting us. Yeah, I like that guy. Keeps nodding to me. You agree with me, I guess. I like him. I don't know who he is, but I like him. He keeps nodding. He says, "You're right." He's obviously on the right side.
How does it feel having him for another 3 years? Awful.
These are rough ones.
But also, it's awful for everybody else too. Like it's awful for us here in America because he's doing a bunch of fuck shit here in America, but he's also doing a bunch of around the globe. So it just sucks all around,
Relations with Hezbollah. That's nice. Why do we allow them in our country?
This is insane. How many more hours of him just like browsing through
I'm just looking at
all of the
it's just
all the criminals that like ICE has gotten from the American prison system? Is he gonna flip through? This is like literally a decade worth. I know a lot of people will look at this and go, "Oh, this is just like, there's a lot of criminals here." It's like, yeah, dude.
So what?
he pulled up with what, 100 slides in a state where there are, you know, millions of people. Let's see what the let's look at some statistics, okay? Minnesota population. Minnesota's population is 5.8 million as of 2025. Minnesota. All right, here, hold on. I'll just show you that real quick. Minnesota's population is around 5.8 million, with the latest 2024 estimates placing it at roughly 5.8 million, okay? Minnesota's prison population is 8,000 to 8,300 are incarcerated in Minnesota state prisons, with a total incarceration figure, including local jails and federal facilities, around 17,500, though the exact numbers vary slightly by source. Okay, so there's 17,500 people in Minnesota prisons. Okay, 10K criminals, as he says, is 0.1726% of the population. No, that's just the criminal population. So if he's pulling up, like, out of the 17,500 people that are in prison right now, if he's pulling up with, like, I don't know, 100, that is unimaginably marginal. Like, that is ridiculous that he's just like, wait, what the did I end up doing here? How did I do this? How did I?
They have some people we can't use their picture for legal reasons, but they're up for murder in their own country, and we jeopardize their case.
Let's look at some statistics. Is the problem they don't believe this shit, bro? I mean, yeah, I know it's a dumb argument, but
all allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in
like what this guy is saying is that over the course of like the last couple of decades, we're not talking about like annual apprehensions, because we know what the annual apprehensions are, right? No, I mean 0.1726% of the total population of Minnesota. He said, how can you have a state with 10,000 criminals? But there is, every state has a ton of people who have been jailed.
They could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was a nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you did. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before.
I love this. Hey, man, you know what we want to see? A binder like that? The Jeffrey Epstein files, okay? We want to see the Jeffrey Epstein files, not the administration's accomplishments where you write down how you, I don't know, ended like 1 million wars and you took out like 1,000 rapists from prison that were already in prison because previous administrations and the Department of Justice had prosecuted them and thrown them in prison, and now you're taking them out of prison just to do like a whole immigrants are actually up the country
economic growth
propaganda tour.
And America is booming. It's booming. There are thousands of businesses right now.
You can't listen. At the end of the day, what do I always say, folks? You cannot out-talk people's pockets hurting. You can yap, but at the end of the day, if are frustrated because everything is so expensive, groceries are expensive, rent is too expensive, 50% of your salary, your wages are going directly to subsidize your landlord's lifestyle. You're not fixing shit. People are mad. You can say, oh, but well, haven't we done wonderful things? This is literally full tilt Brandonization, baby. Everyone was talking about how like they experienced negative real wage growth, okay? Negative real wage growth for 1.5 years under the Biden administration. The economy was in the and the economy was already in the in 2016 when it was in a much better position than it is now, right? But it was still in the for the average person because of all these things that I talk about all the time. Healthcare, the cost of education, the cost of housing. Like these are things that have exploded in prices. And it's making life unaffordable for so many people. People don't have disposable income. And what was Joe Brandon doing the entire time? He was like, come on, Jack, I'm doing NATO. We're doing the NATOization of Finland instead of the Finlandization of NATO. And it's like, nobody cared about that, man. Nobody cared. They were like, shut the fuck up and fix the prices. Shut the fuck up and fix the prices. And now Trump is doing the same. Except it's even worse because at least like liberal media was on board with what Joe Brandon was doing in terms of NATO, because at the end of the day, that was in line with like, you voted for this. Are you prepared to deal with the repercussions? You elected this man. This is your boy, your best friend. You love him. Trump and Hasanabi go hand in hand. You both love capitalism, and I love you. JP, I support your stream. Hell yeah, dude. I wanted to bring about the demise of the American empire, and that's why I voted for him illegally. Okay, 61K upvotes, content made for you. Eurowoke versus Amerilibs. Okay, love that. Love that. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Trump is straight up destroying the American empire. Absolutely. And it's glorious, dude. That's why I voted for him. That's why I voted for him a million times over, Certainly, I wasn't like warning over and over again that the Democrats were dropping the ball in spectacular fashion and they were probably going to lose when they were doing Brat's summer dance routines over and over again, celebrating as though they had already won at the DNC, when I was like, what the are you guys doing? You guys haven't won yet. Do you not understand what kind of aggressive posturing Donald Trump is engaging in right now, especially on the issue of immigration? He's going to literally do concentration camps, and none of you are taking this shit seriously. And it turns out he's doing all the things that I said he was going to do. Have you registered Kaya to vote? Kaya, unfortunately, is not a voter. I have registered her to vote, even though she's 3 years old, or about to be 3 years old this year. She refuses to vote because she's a Maoist third worldist and believes that participating in bourgeois democracy is basically saying openly that you are an abject fascist no matter who you vote for. Kaya does not want social fascism. Kaya, like I said, is a Maoist third worldist who's organizing the vanguard, and is very frustrated that a lot of the democratic socialists in the United States of America have actually betrayed Marxist-Leninist principles. Kaya wants siege communism. Okay, Kaya wants siege communism now. So, the Bolsheviks, and so she refuses. She is an accelerationist. She thinks it's awesome that America is falling apart.
And you would have had disinvestment.
Hello?
And you would have had welfare going way up. If you look at Snap, take a look at Snap, what happened with that? Was it $7 billion? And it came out to over $51 billion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The past administration, they had no clue, or they were really bad, but they basically had no clue. But they did have a concept. I mean, they're still trying to sell the idea of men playing in women's sports. You saw that in the Supreme Court.
Bite the hand that feeds Kaya, rise up, fight the power.
They were fighting for him. But you saw that just the other day in the Supreme Court. Men playing in women's sports doesn't work. Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion.
She wants perpetual revolution. She is not a trot. She would take a lot of offense to that.
SoftBank, Oracle, TSMC, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly and Company, Micron,
she is a strict anti-revisionist.
General Motors, Hyundai, Ford, Honda, GE Aerospace, many, many others. I left a Ford plant a week ago.
I don't think you guys understand. Kaya is, I'm telling you, she is
and now they just announced that they're going 24 hours around the clock making cars.
Strict,
I don't know what the
orthodox, Marxist, Leninist, Maoist.
I think to me it reads so plainly. Couldn't be plainer. You're allowed to do a license. Tariff is probably less severe than
she loves. I mean, look, her entry point into Maoism, into Mao Zedong thought, was because she loves walks. Okay, she loves going on walks, and she loves going. And what is the greatest walk of all time, historically speaking? The Long March, right? Like, she is. This was her entry point into Mao Zedong thought. Is like she wanted to go on the longest walk of all time, and basically gather support for what would become the People's Liberation Army.
And tremendous income, we have. And by the way, no inflation. So
this is her lore. If you guys want to know more Kaya backstory, this is it.
Biden had inflation and he didn't.
What does Kaya think about Jusha? Jusha, she is, of course, she offers critical support to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the best Korea, the #1 Korea, the popular Korea. And the other day, me and Kaya were having a conversation about that, and she was like, listen, I think these last couple of years have proven once again that one of the best possible things that a nation that has been a nation in the periphery could do is to develop nuclear arms. and create a robust infrastructure of defense because countries without nuclear arms have no sovereignty, and therefore Kim Jong-un, the entire Kim dynasty is vindicated for what they have done.
Ever before for any country.
She keeps saying it, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with you on the nuke stuff. Is this how you have to do now political commentary in the U.S. to stay legally safe? Yeah, I'm not saying these are my opinions. I'm saying that these are Kaya's opinions. What are Kaya's thoughts on Sharia law? She loves it. She loves woke Sharia.
For $10 would sell in New York for $130. It's 13 times more than that even. We secured most favored nations agreements to slash drug prices by.
So you stole your get nukes policy from Kaya? Yes, I did.
Even 600%, including with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Nova Nordisk, Gilead Sciences, EMD, Serenio, and many others. If you look at some of the prices that are coming down, where a price would come down $1,300 coming down to 87.
What is this boring old senile man yapping about? Let me tell you what he's yapping about. He's yapping about how he is, how you should pay no mind to how you feel right now. You should pay no mind to your economic circumstances, and that as we are turning the page on the first year of Trump's second term, you should just listen to his words about how wonderful things are and how awesome Trump has been so far. You know, pay no attention to the cost of living and how terrible it is for you, how terrible everything really is for you, and instead pay attention to all this other stuff. Meanwhile, by the way, here's a Sharia law mayor actually doing the thing that he promised he would do. The Mamdani special in honor of the New York mayor, in honor of the new mayor's city. We are the first in New York City to deliver on his proposal. Big Back Chicken and Gyro, the new mayor of New York City, every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., $8 platters. Okay? There you go. There you freaking go. Promises made, promises kept.
It's done properly. We have, again, more plants being built than at any time in the history of our country. Passed the largest spending cuts in American history, and that was true in my first, we had a tremendous first term also. We rebuilt our military. We had one of the best. We had the best economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away now. When this stuff starts opening up, you're not going to see anything like it probably ever again. We slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in a single year. Think of that, 27. You could do it 2%, 1%, 0.5%, 27%. And that's with all of the things we have to do, all of the people we have to put on the payroll to get rid of people that are murderers. Again, when you see people in Minnesota that are murderers, these people are fighting to keep them there. And I say to Christie and to Tom Homan, the great people, they're working so hard. Look at the border. The border is now secure. First time, Biden said you couldn't do it. You need legislation. I had no legislation. I said,
yeah, based.
Within 1 month, we had.
Is that good? Am I doing it right? Yeah, based.
8 months.
Yeah, border wasn't secure when Biden was around. Yeah. Yeah, you see.
And I find that hard to believe because you'd think somebody, because it used to be millions of people.
Based. Guys.
And the people that do that are Democrat sort of aligned.
It's based.
So, they're not.
What can you say?
Nobody
Look around and find out. Yeah, based. Yeah.
They're not going to make the trek because they know they probably won't be.
Is there like a stated purpose of the press briefing? Yes, 1 year. I keep repeating to you guys. I know it feels like, it has been a lifetime, but it has only been 365 days since Trump took over the role of president for the second time. Okay? This is the turning point. This is his first year in office. Now apologize to Euro Maya. Who's Euro Maya?
Have a lot of heart.
So he's doing the flex mode. He's going on. He's going.
Working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all.
He's trying to do flex mode where he's like, "Hey, pay no mind to how terrible your pockets are hurting. Okay, listen to my words. Listen to my wonderful words. Listen to how good things actually are. Please."
So in theory, they should be, but we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers. The mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. You can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up. Their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get. They're empty now, but they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from.
Yeah,
and every
based.
country accepts them. You know, under Biden, they wouldn't take. They had so little respect that they'd bring them there. And they wouldn't take
Listen to
them. They
Mark
said, "Get the hell
Carney's
out of
words
here."
at the World
They
Economic
would
Forum.
be bringing
I
the
love that
plane
Canadians
in,
are doing the
land in
same
the
thing that they
country,
did
and
last
put
time
5
when
planes
Justin
in the
Trudeau was
runways to
president,
land the plane.
where
So
they're
they'd come
straight up
back
in
with
2016
the
when
people
Donald
that
Trump
they
became
were bringing
president.
back.
Canadians were like, well, look at how wonderful our president is. Like, look at how wonderful our leadership it is. They're actually liberal. They're actually smart. They're actually intelligent. And once again, doing the same thing, okay?
Regulations, I promised to eliminate
Prime
that
Minister,
old
sorry.
regulations. For every one new regulation,
Everybody
instead
calm
we've got
down, okay?
129
I'm in
old
America mode.
regulations. Each one had
You need to
think
start
that.
realizing
I want to do
that
10.
when I say
My
president,
first 4 years I did,
I'm talking
when we
about
put on a
President
new
Trump, which will be your
regulation, you had to
president as
cut
well, okay?
8. This year I said you have to cut 10.
No, but like,
Instead, we
this is
cut
what happened last time where they were like, look how great he is. Now,
so
I think
far.
Carney,
Can't remain
I
like
think
that, I don't imagine.
Mark Carney is doing a lot of things that I like in terms of like sovereignty, in terms of leveraging his relationship with China.
Regulations where they go
And
like California,
Macron
which is a
seemingly is doing that
disaster
as well. It's very interesting that Donald Trump has been so unstable and so dangerous that he is unironically
He ever ran the
leaning,
countries cut to
forcing even European countries to lean into China a little bit. So we shall see. We shall see.
77%.
But make no mistake, the reason why you guys are talking about Mark Carney right now is because he's smart. He's competent. That's it. And this man is objectively not very smart or competent. So you want to flex. You want to be like, look at our reasonable and sound leadership here. Okay. Well, isn't that a breath of fresh air? In French polls, 51% of the population believes the United States posed a military threat to France, not just Greenland, but the French territories as well. And among those under 35, the figure reaches 60%. It's about time. Oh, dude, Anglophobia, please, please. France is one of the most Anglophobic countries in the European continent. Please use this to your advantage. Oh my God, LFI victory, please. Please. I would love that. If Jean-Luc Mélenchon was able to, take advantage of the enmity that exists, that would be so sick. That would be so dope, dude. Oh my God. All I want for my friends all around the world is for them to have some dignity in their work, in their labor, a better living standards in general, moving in the direction of a better future. And the only pathway towards that is by, one, developing sovereignty for yourself, ridding yourself of the influence of global capital, and ridding yourself of the influence of America, which is the defender of global capital. Please, please wake up. This is great. If people actually wake up as a consequence of the instability that Donald Trump has created, as a consequence of the instability that Donald Trump represents, oh my God, the world could move in a better direction, I think. One can only dream. One can only dream. Open Presents with 100 gifted. Thank you, Open Presents.
Millions of people off the federal payroll. I don't like doing that, but the good news, I don't feel badly because they're getting private sector jobs and they're getting sometimes twice as much money, 3 times as much money. They're getting
Mark
factory
Carney is
jobs.
literally
They're
a
getting
pre-Stephen
much
Harper
better jobs
conservative.
and
Are these
much
people
higher
hypnotized
pay.
by basic competence? Yes, that's what I was
But
trying to explain,
all
is
I
that
have to
they
do
are
is
hypnotized
say,
by
like,
basic
you know,
competence.
what the Democrats do all the time.
I don't perceive Mark Carney as like, I don't perceive Mark Carney doing anything reliably in the direction of like moving Canada towards socialism, but I will still call balls and strikes, and I will still say that I think Mark Carney is definitely infinitely more competent than Justin Trudeau, number one, and his foreign policy has been interesting. His foreign policy attitude has been very interesting to watch from afar, and I will give praise to him where praise is worthy, okay? I think there are people out there who care about their countrymen. There are people out there who realize the danger that America represents. And I do feel like Mark Carney is not just like responding to the public pressure, but at the end of the day, he's still a banker. Like, he is still going to be a firm and committed defender of international capital, global capital, right? Like,
Biden 1 out of 4 jobs added was a government job.
I don't think you've
at that.
spammed it enough.
So 25%.
Would you move
of
to
the
France if
jobs added.
Mélenchon was their
That's-
president?
When you
well,
know
considering that I said I would move to New York if Zoran won the mayor race, yes, I will move to France if Mélenchon was president. I would move to France.
they just hire some more people. I do the opposite. I say get rid of everybody that's unnecessary, because that's the way you make America great again. When you have, all these jobs where people are
Carney's
sitting around
WF
doing
speech
nothing
that's
and
getting
they get
quoted
lot of
sounded a
money
lot like third worldism
by the
before the first world.
government.
Yes,
good.
because it's
that's
true.
what-
Because America has moved in the direction of treating its European and Western allies in the imperial core as though they are developing nation states. And obviously, if you come from any sort of like Marxist tradition, you understand that Marshall Plan and onward, the United States of America has historically also dominated Western Europe and our, and the countries that you would consider to be in the imperial core. They have rid them of their sovereignty. We have rid them of their sovereignty, right? We've done that already, but we did that with niceties. We did that with carrots rather than sticks, or, a little bit of sticks every now and then, but mostly carrots. Okay. But the reality of the matter is now we're moving different. We're openly saying like, nah, just sticks, no more carrots. I'm taking it. Fuck you gonna do about it? We're the United States of America, And what a lot of people still fail to comprehend is that this entire design, this global design, because I know a lot of people can only look at this from like the interests of national sovereignty, right? But what you fail to consider is there is a reason why the people that are in power in your countries, if you're tuning in from Europe, the reason why people in power from your countries are, you don't even know what Carney has said. No, I'm going to listen to it. But there's a reason why even Mark Carney or Macron or Keir Starmer, also known as Kid Starver, also known as Stalin, Keir Stalin, and every single other leader in Western Europe, the reason why they were elected is the same reason why Democrats get elected here, which is to maintain the same capitalist system with a little bit of deviation from the right flank party, right? Or the right flank coalition if you're in a parliamentary system. Having said that, ultimately it's still to reinforce and defend the capitalist global design. That is the reason why they, for the most part, have to sit around and allow America to dominate them, because America is the defender of this global capitalist system. That's it. So until there is a different ideological organization out there, so you hate America? No. If I hated America, I wouldn't live here. Okay? If I hated the United States of America, I wouldn't live here. I want to make America actually great. Okay? I want America to reach its genuine potential. If I hated America, I'd be a Republican. Okay? Because let's be real. I mean, even before Donald Trump, if you think about George W. Bush and onward, like the reality of the matter is Republicans are a far more devastating terrorist, both around the globe and certainly to America as well, than Al-Qaeda ever could be. Okay? Osama bin Laden wishes he could do the amount of damage that like a Donald Trump can do, an Elon Musk can do to the United States of America. Numbers on the board. Osama bin Laden killed 3,000 American citizens on 9/11. Okay? I can't even comprehend what the casualty numbers will look like when we figure out the totality of death that has been caused by sanctions around the globe, or all of the people that die as a consequence of not being able to receive health care because health care has to remain private, which, by the way, Democrats play a role in this as well. It's the same consensus that I was talking about. Or the number of people that have died because we just unceremoniously pulled out of U.S. aid funding, right? All around the world, like little children that were relying on American aid, and the farmers that were getting subsidies as a consequence of U.S. aid. I'm not even a U.S. aid fan, and I still recognize that number. Like, there is so much. I'm not closed-minded. Hasan is smart, which is why I'm here as an independent trying to get his perspective. Yeah, I do not hate America. I want America to actually be great. I don't want America to continue spiraling down this fascist path that it's on as American empire is slowly receding into this like weird place.
Doing this work. And, you know, they're going to make mistakes sometimes. ICE is going to be too rough with somebody, or, you know, they're dealing with rough people. They're going to make a mistake sometimes.
Bin Laden should have actually moved to the United States of America, became a Republican, and then won office. And he would have done more damage overall to the United States of America.
Had the tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. Everybody would say, ICE would say the same thing. But when I learned her parents, and her father in particular, I hope he still is, but I don't know, was a tremendous Trump fan. He was all for Trump, loved Trump.
The f is this man talking about, man?
You know, it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They said, "Oh, he loves you. He was a." I hope he still feels that way. I don't know. It's a hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous Trump fans. It's so sad. It just happens. It's terrible. Halted all refugee admissions to the United States, including from Somalia,
Renee
which
Good
is
and
a
her
terrible,
dad?
terrible place.
Wait,
another
now
dangerous
he's
place.
saying.
And we also stopped.
Wait,
the
now he's
pirates,
giving credit to
because they
Renee
did the
Good
same
because her
treatment as the
father
drug
is a Trump
boats.
fan?
So when Somalia, the Somalians, you know what they're good at? That's about the only thing they're good at is they're good at pirating ships at sea, big ships. So you have a huge oil tanker with millions of gallons, millions of barrels of oil. And if it gets hit by a big weapon, the whole thing blows up. And they don't want to fight, because if they do, they're told by their insurance companies, do not hand over the ship. And they're not allowed to have any guns on the ship. They're literally, you have these massive ships being taken over by a Somalian small boat with a big weapon. Because
What?
if they hit the side of the ship can blow up.
Bro hates Somalis, bro. Dude, where the f is this?
Some bad things happen.
Dude, Somali this, Somali that. What is happening, bro?
To build, and the insurance companies say, look,
What is happening? Where did this come from? What is
$1 insurance policy?
like? Did they just dial in on Somalis because they realized, like, one, they're black, two, they're Muslim, three, Israel wants to do Somaliland so they can have a base across the water line from Yemen, you know, and all of it ties together, I guess, somehow. Like, what the where did this like Somali derangement syndrome come from, bro? No, it's not Nick Shitley's influence. Nick Shitley happened to be the opportunist that was in the right place at the right time, so he got base boosted. Because Donald Trump was on Somalis before Nick Shitley made that video.
They don't have police. They don't have military. They don't have anything. They just have people running around killing each other and trying to pirate ships. But she'll come here. Comes, and then she wants to tell us how to run our country. The Constitution says that I am entitled to this. I can't stand her. Terminated all taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens and kicked 275,000 illegals off of Social Security. They were illegally getting Social Security. 275,000 people. I'm telling you, it's
Isn't
not
that
this
crazy?
is pleasurable.
It's like,
but
bro, you made that
if I
up.
weren't
Yeah,
elected
it is
president,
crazy.
This country was going to be destroyed quickly, very quickly. I think within a year, if you had Kamala or a Joe type. I mean, Joe was a disaster, but if you had Kamala, he was the replacement. I was up by like 25 points on Joe, and they said, hey, let's get somebody else. This never happened. Well, I had so many firsts. You're leading somebody by a lot, and they say, oh, let's take him out. Let's put somebody. That's like I said to Dana White the other night. I said, you know, Dana, it's like you have a fighter, two fighters. One guy is winning by a lot. And they say, oh, let's take this guy out. Let's put a new fighter in the ring with him. That's what happened to me. I was doing great with Biden. The whole campaign was against Biden. All the money was spent against Biden. And all of a sudden, I got Kamala. Everyone said, who the hell is she? But that didn't work out too well for them. But never happened before. We are about lots of firsts. Designated English as the official language of the United States of America. We did that very powerfully. And while we're at it, we also took the
We did
Gulf
that
of
very
Mexico,
powerfully.
And now it's the
Yeah, bro.
Gulf of
How is this?
America.
How is this helping you pay rent?
92%
Okay, can you pay rent with we designated English as the first language of America?
Mexico has a small
No.
percentage. Talks about 8%. We have 92%. And I said, why is it the Gulf of Mexico? It should be the Gulf of America. I was going to call it the Gulf of Trump, but I thought that I would be killed if I did that. I wanted to do it. I wanted to. My people worked so hard. Sir, I don't think it'll look too good. I'm telling you, it's a good thing. And it'll be hotter than ever, I said. No, but I decided not to do that. I'm joking, you know, when I say that. I was not going to call it the Gulf of Trump. Because tomorrow it'll be, Trump wanted to call it the Gulf of Trump, but he was rebuffed by his people. My people don't rebuff me too much. The Gulf of Trump, that does have a good ring, though. Maybe we could do that. It's not too late. No, we have the Gulf of America now. It's great. Our country is proud for the attack on Venezuela, the attack on the Iran nuclear capability, wiped it out. I mean, first administration, Soleimani, the father of the roadside bomb, al-Baghdadi, the father of ISIS, who was rebuilding ISIS. We wiped them out. Done a great job. Signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for children of illegal migrants. You know, that case is in court right now. That case was meant for the children of slaves. All you have to do is look at the years. Look at the years where the cases were filed and where the decisions were made. They were right at the end of the Civil War. They're trying to say that, you know, in China's making a big business out of that. They come to the country, they have a child, the American citizen, they get all the benefits. It had nothing to do with that. That was for the children of slaves. And I hope the Supreme Court so rules. Designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. It is. We lost, I believe, 300,000 people this year. 300,000 people. That's like filling up one of those big football stadiums 5 times. It's not even believable. I mean, you could be in a war and you wouldn't lose that many people. So we designated fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. Conducted numerous successful military strikes against narco-terrorists operating in our hemisphere, including the water strikes. Drugs brought in by ocean. So I told you that we're down by, I mean, close to 100%. It's hard to get somebody to pilot those boats. Very hard. They have to be people that don't watch television, don't read the news. And we just blew up their facility. They had a docking facility where the drugs were stored. And now we have a great relationship with Venezuela. We're getting along fantastically with the leadership in Venezuela, so we wouldn't have to do that. This was done before the attack. But we captured and brought to justice the outlaw dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, who, through drugs, killed millions of people in our country. Tremendous drug dealer. Also sent millions of people into our country, including Tren de Aragua, the worst gang. They say it's the worst gang in the world. They took over parts of Colorado. They just take the apartment building. They just took it away. Just took it away like we're here. They cut the hand off one man because he called the police. Who called the police? I did. You took my apartment from me. Boom. No hand. This is what they sent us. Restoring law and order, new category. D.C. and Memphis, federal task forces deployed massive numbers of federal law enforcement officers and National Guard to restore safety. Crime down in D.C. is almost down to nothing. D.C. was a very, very dangerous place, and I think you probably know better than I do. I have a lot of people in the media thanked me for that, but some of them found it hard to thank me. But, you know, D.C. is now, look how beautiful. D.C. is now, you can walk right from here to a restaurant, right through the center of town. You can be with your child, with your loved one.
Before they would separate you, they would say, oh, you have a child. Well, you can't actually. You're not allowed to have babies. We hate children. That's right. The woke Sharia mob would come in. They had the mortality police. They'd say, time for an abortion. And the white moms would say, please, no, no, don't take away my baby. The liberal police force would say, yes, we're taking the baby away. We're doing a post-birth abortion.
To me, a town, it looks better when you have military people. These are big, strong guys, and bad guys. You look at them and they say, we're not going to mess around. But
yeah, towns look better with American military deployed. It looks better. Interesting.
But I feel much better.
This is insane. Okay, towns look much better with military deployments is a crazy thing to say.
A year ago, I couldn't have done that. I would have been crazy to have done that.
Bro, even in China, where the PLA is uniquely all up and down like neighborhoods, right? Like they will at the very least hide amongst like the civilian buildings. You know what I mean? Because with the exception of like Tiananmen Square and maybe some of these other sites, nobody wants to see militarized units walking down the streets. We don't even want like the militarized police walking down the streets. For the longest time in the United States history, cops basically had fatigues on, but like, you know, the blue garb, like they didn't have this level of like military gear. Now it's virtually indistinguishable. You cannot distinguish between an ICE agent and a military deployment, so much so that like the National Guard, when they're being deployed to an area of need, have to wear like high visibility vests so people can make that distinction between who is actually a part of the military and who is just a regular ass beat cop versus a federalized, a federal law enforcement agent. It's crazy. Nobody wants to see militarized units or directly the military on American streets. I feel like this is fundamentally un-American, okay? And even a country that has a very different way of doing business, right? That's the reason why I brought up China. Even then, they will literally, they'll have barracks or whatever, right? In the middle of a city. And if they have barracks in the middle of a city, it's still hidden to make it seem like it's a civilian area. Like you can obviously, you know, it's a barracks, but you at least don't see it because like visualizing military in normal, regular streets is a terrifying prospect for most people. Yeah, PLA also don't carry weapons when they're, what the fuck?
More than 100,000 vehicles to a record low. Began the process of eliminating cashless bail policies across the nation. You got to get rid of your sanctuary cities.
It's cool when we do it, bro. Come on.
I hope our people know that we're not going to pay sanctuary cities. We're not going to pay them anymore. They are sanctuary for criminals. They hold criminals. We're not going to pay.
Bro, did Trump actually posted this? What?
But we're not giving money to sanctuary cities anymore as of the beginning of the month. We began the process of eliminating the cashless bail. Well, cashless bail is where it all started. It's a disaster.
Oh my
God.
Other
places. I don't know if it's started.
Okay, no more jokes. No more jokes. I'm sorry.
In New York.
I'm sorry.
So
I apologize. I apologize for joking. I should have never joked. Okay? I should have never joked. This was a up joke. I feel like the Laura Loomer theory is becoming a reality. The Laura Loomer is sitting in the chat and listening to my jokes and then writing them down only to go and tell Trump what to do is becoming a theory, like the theory of gravity is a theory, okay? Anytime I'm like, haha, what do you think is going to happen? Look, between Greenland and America, what is the country in between? Perhaps they will seize it. Perhaps they will take it. It's like the next day, Donald Trump will post this visual. Haha, we're just, I'm putting Starmer in the cuck chair. You've doomed us, Canadians, Hasan. What have you done? Brother, once again, critical support to Canada in its anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist action, okay? Critical support to Canada. I see you. I hear you. I ride with you, okay? I promise. It's becoming less and less of a joke by the day, but...
I used to always look at that building and I'd see this big building, big tall building. It loomed over the park. It was sort of, now that I think, it was a pretty unfriendly sight. But I'll never forget, I don't know if it's still there, because they got rid of most of them, the Democrats in New York, they took them down, and the people live on the streets now. That's why you have
I thought the joke was about Norway. No, it was about Canada and Norway.
They live in the streets. They took the mental institutions down. They're expensive.
Do with that information what you will, Norwegians.
It wasn't normal. You're used to looking at like a window. But this one, you look at it, all this steel, vicious steel, tiny windows, bars all over the place. Nobody was getting out. It's called a mental institution. That was an insane asylum. Designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, and many others. It is. America is respected again on the world stage. That's another topic. Obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capability, and Operation Midnight Hammer was one of the most successful anyone's ever seen. CNN fake news. I don't know where they are. CNN. Anybody from CNN here? Fake news. Nobody wants to raise their hand anymore. They used to argue here. Now, if you're with CNN, you don't raise your hand. But they said, well, maybe it wasn't that successful, which I really was angry because these pilots took their life in their hands. 2 o'clock in the morning with no moon, dead dark, gun shooting at them. They went in with those beautiful B-2s, and every single bomb went down an air shaft and obliterated it. And CNN came out and said, well, maybe it wasn't, by a scam writer who wrote, fake stories.
He's been posting about Dominion voting machines again. Oh my God, what the is wrong with him?
That's a terrible thing. The pilots came back and they said, we hit everything. They did a great job. Then on top of that, we launched from a submarine about 30 Tomahawks on top of everything else. The place was obliterated. CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Turned out it was worse than it was. You know who could tell you that? The Iranians would tell you that. Because if they do anything, they're going to have to start a brand new place. But they did an amazing job. That was like what we did with Venezuela. I mean, nobody's ever seen a military operation like that. Ended 8 unendable wars in 10 months. These were unendable wars. Cambodia and Thailand fighting for years. Kosovo and Serbia. The Congo and Rwanda. Pakistan and India, they were really going at it. 8 planes shot down. They were going to go nuclear, in my opinion. The Prime Minister of Pakistan was here, and he said President Trump saved 10 million people and maybe much more than that.
Oh my God. It's so, they're such
Iran.
dick suckers too. All of these other nation state leaders are just like, Mr. President, you are the GOAT. You are the legend. You are killing it. Europeans were doing this too until recently. Like, remember that. The Euro chatters, your leadership was doing the same.
But they put a dam up. You know who paid for the dam?
I know, not Carney any longer.
Dam,
I know.
I think in the world. They put a dam up. I said, how did you let that happen? Why would we have done that? We financed it. This country would. I don't know. Maybe it was
I ain't European. I am Balkan.
But I don't think it was. I think it was a Democrat.
So you're Ottoman.
What a terrible thing. So Egypt basically is, they don't have enough water in the Nile. And they use that for a lot of things, including entertainment and travel and tourism and everything. I mean, I don't know. They got a big dam. I got to work that one out now, too. Armenia and Azerbaijan, President Putin told me, I cannot believe you settled that war. I've been trying to settle that war for 10 years. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they were fighting it for many, many years. And I ended up getting the heads of both countries in my office. Beautiful Oval Office, much more beautiful now than it ever was. And one sat at one side, one sat at the other. He said, I've been the head of Azerbaijan for 22 years, and for 22 years I've been killing his people. And the other gentleman, and both very good guys, said, I've been here for 7 years, and for 7 years I've been killing his people. And they started over there, and within an hour they were next to each other, and by the time we ended, they were hugging each other, and it's been a great peace, Should have gotten the Nobel Prize for each war, but I don't say that. I saved millions and millions of people. And don't let anyone tell you that Norway doesn't control the shots, okay? It's in Norway. Norway controls the shots. They'll say, we have nothing to do with it. It's a joke. They've lost such prestige. That's why I have such respect for Maria doing what she did. She said, I don't deserve the Nobel Prize. He does. When she got it, they said, wow, that's amazing. I thought President Trump would get it. President Trump deserves it. He ended up 8 wars. How nice, right? It's a good woman. Got all 20 living hostages returned to their families, and the remains, they all came out. We got the 20 living hostages. We got the 28 hostages. They have 1 left that we think we know where it is. Amazing. Looked like we weren't going to get anywhere near that. Now they've gotten almost. And more importantly, we got many more, hundreds. We got them all. If we didn't do it, you wouldn't have had, most of those people would have been dead. I don't know if that's covered properly, but the 20 is great. They were the last ones. I always said the last 20 are going to be hard, but we got them. We got the last 20, and we got close to 28 of the bodies of the dead. And to those parents, that was just as important as getting their son back alive. They were almost even more intent on getting.
Watch Tate's new PBD interviews at Kaplan's with young people and shilling socialism. Who's Tate?
We just created the Board of Peace, which I think is.
Brother, I'm sorry, but if you're still relying on these grifters for like a consistent position, you're out of your mind, okay? Please stop entertaining these people.
One war.
Like, please, I beg of you. I don't care. It's like the same. It's like the same between Sneeko. Sneeko yesterday, like Sneeko was doing the Heil Hitler the other day, right? And how ironic that Tate McRae went on Valuetainment Patrick Bet David. What? Wait, what? Tate McRae went on PBD? No, it was Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, man. Y'all are such dumbasses, dude. Okay, so I'm over here furiously Googling Patrick Bet David Tate McRae, okay? Thinking that an interview was actually conducted. Tate McRae would be so strange. Dude, how are you not pissed that Patrick hasn't invited you? It's by design. He doesn't. There are guys on the right who are, for some weird reason, terrified of having a conversation with me because I think like they normally do like peaceful interviews. They don't do like contentious interviews at all, unless it's like with Sam Cedar or whatever. And guys like that know that if I were to have a conversation with them, I'd be able to like reach their audience. So they're genuinely terrified of having someone like myself on. Because like they have actually asked me, if you remember, like Patrick Bet David actually asked me to be on, and then they reached back out and were like, sorry, we meant Hassan Minhaj. So guys like that are truly worried about like they have like a operating blacklist. Same with like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is obviously better at like holding a contentious conversation. But even then, like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, a lot of these like right-wing content creators, they choose not to have people like myself on because they're worried that like I would make a very convincing argument that their audience would respond positively to. And I think that's the reason. Because it's not like I'm shy about it. Like I would go on Patrick Bet David. I would go on all these different shows. They just don't want to do it because they're I think they're just like very worried.
Australia, Malaysia, Thailand,
like
Ukraine,
I would talk to
Japan,
Candace Owens. I would talk to Tucker Carlson.
We have so much rare earth. It's actually not that rare. Getting it processed is rare, but there's a lot of rare earth. There's a lot of earth around, I can tell you. Withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization where we were paying hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So we were paying $500 million a year. And China is paying $37 million a year. I said, why aren't we paying the same as China? They said, well, nobody asked. I said, China's got 1.4 billion people. We have 350 million, probably with all the illegals, you know. China probably knows more accurately.
Why would Patrick Bet David have Sam Cedar on twice but not you? Because I appeal to a very different thing that right-wingers understand better than anybody else, which is aesthetics. When someone like myself goes on a right-wing platform, I have a way to have a conversation with like right-wingers where the audience responds positively to it because of the way I carry myself, the way I look, the way I sound. Whereas like Sam Cedar is still going to have an intellectual conversation where I can just like have a conversation about like, you know, dumb shit that right-wingers like, you know, silly shit like Zin in my Trump assassination Zintin. Stuff like that plays a big role for right-wingers. They love that. Because MAGA is basically a coalition that initially was put together through resentment. It's not like there is no like real ideological investment that these ideologically disciplined people are advancing. They're not like, oh yeah, I really love that we're doing, you know, fascism or whatever. It's not. It's just all built together with aesthetics. So if it's built together with aesthetics and vibes, it's actually much easier to penetrate and much easier to destroy with aesthetics and vibes. And I think that's what it is.
Not to take that deal. First thing Biden did is go back into it. You know what he paid? More than $500 million. So I actually called them. I said, you know, you can buy it for less. You can make a deal at 37. There's no reason to pay 500. They didn't care. They paid more than 500. Did you know that? They paid more than 500 million. I made a deal at 37. I could have had 37. They were public about it. We'll give you the same deal that China has for 37. And they paid 500 million. They paid $500 million. That's the way you ruin a country. And it's the same attitude that, you know, you have on everything else with these people. They were terrible. The anti-American UN Human Rights Council we ended, the UN Relief and Works Agency we ended, and the fake Paris Climate Accord, which was a ripoff of America, where we had to pay $1 trillion and they were paying nothing. China didn't kick in until 2035. We kicked in immediately. We were supposed to pay $1 trillion. Russia went to a standard of 1991, which was a dirtier standard. But we had to pay top dollar. So I terminated that. Another Rick. We ended the woke lunacy and restored common sense, abolished all discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI policies throughout the federal government and the private sector. They're gone, everybody. They're gone. Terrible. Terminated the Green New Scam and ended the insane electric vehicle mandate. I love electric vehicles. That caused me a little problem with a man named Elon, but he understands and he's a good guy. We get along, but I said, Elon, we can't have all electric cars. We just can't do it. I like the electric cars. I like his car, but in particular, I like his car. But we can't do that because some people don't want an electric car by 2030. And to build the power stations all over the country would have cost $4 trillion. $4 trillion. That's more than any country has. If you got China, the United States, and everyone, you couldn't do it.
How long is this?
Years,
it's impossibly
they
long.
They were supposed to be switching over. Electric vehicle mandate. Some people.
Bro, this is focusing on the horse buggy economy at a time when cars are being mass produced, being like, nope. What about the horse carriage and buggy economy? That's where we're at right now. America is focusing on the past, while other countries are moving in the direction of the future. This is yet another alarming signal of a declining empire. And as someone who has obviously studied this quite a bit, both in the Ottoman Empire and studied this in college as well, I am telling you right now, this is yet another major moment of alarm, moment of panic, that this is a telltale sign of declining empires. This is what we're doing.
Which made you spend hundreds of thousands.
I gotta pee.
It made for hundreds of thousands of cars. The cost numbers were incredible that the consumer has to pay. Imposed 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles and 100% tariff on Chinese cars which don't come into the country because of tariffs. Only because of tariffs. We didn't have tariffs, you wouldn't have any car. We have now more car factories being built in the United States than ever before because of tariffs. If they take those tariffs away, China will eat our lunch. They'll take all of our car business. Now, there's another way of doing it, but it's more cumbersome, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to scare you, but it's much more cumbersome, not as good for national security as this. We have a perfect system right now. We're making a fortune. We've never been stronger, and I hope the Supreme Court does the right thing for our country. Because if they don't, it's such a problem. It's just so, it would be so sad. We're doing so well because of tariffs. And the people that are heading up the lawsuit, like there's a guy named Leonard Leo, who's a bad guy, and people that are very China-oriented and foreign car-oriented and foreign business-oriented, but in particular China, they're suing to get rid of tariffs because they don't want tariffs, like Coke. Coke has businesses outside of the United States. If you have them outside, you don't want tariffs. But because of tariffs, they treat us well. Without tariffs, they would treat us very badly. As you saw for many years, they respect us more now than they ever have respected us, by a lot. And revoked the California emissions waiver to stop San Francisco communists from regulating the automobile industry and destroying automobiles and the industry in the nation. I was with Bill Ford of Ford Motors. I was with all the people.
EV adoption is entirely stalled in the United States. Of course,
making more money and building more cars.
No, we moved. We moved against it. Like
all because
this is straight up. That was one of the first things that Trump did was no more EVs. Like we're taking away the incentives. We're taking away the tax credits, and it's so crazy because a big part of the IRA and all the bills, like the industrial bills that came from the Biden administration, was unironically focusing on battery manufacturing plants and things like that. They straight up were like, no more solar. You're going to drive a gas guzzler and you're gonna like it. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just it's very clear that the way that we are playing this game now is we know that China is the monopoly on renewables. Like they own the future of energy. Okay, and we are not. We're gonna break the game. We're gonna flip the table instead of playing the game. Like that's what it is. Canada's EV deal with China shows how U.S. belligerence is driving allies away. It's also stranding the once powerful U.S. auto industry, now doomed to make domestic gas guzzlers and exists as a footnote globally. I brought this up before when Donald Trump was doing these tariffs conversations, like during Liberation Day, if you recall, where I was like, dude, we are moving away from producing smaller vehicles that would potentially be good in, foreign markets, because we've decided we can just force them to purchase our giant cars that you need a commercial driver's license to drive in places, on the European continent, giant cars that won't fit in the narrow roads in European cities. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Yes, force. Yes, it's called forcing. When America is not making a competitive product and says, you are going to fix this trade deficit by force. When America says you have to fix this trade deficit and the only thing we're selling is chlorinated chicken and ginormous gas guzzlers that you need a commercial driver's license to drive in European cities that won't fit in European cities, then yeah, what do you think? What can they purchase? They can either, we sell chlorinated chicken, we sell major gas guzzlers like that are tanks, and we sell guns. That's the only thing we manufacture. So if we are telling them fix the trade deficit by force, or else you get tariffed, or else we just do everything in our power to cripple your economy, what do you think that is? What do you think that is? That's precisely what it is. It's by force. We sell HGH beef too, exactly. We sell agricultural products that are not up to the standards of other countries' own regulatory agencies. We sell vehicles that are not compatible with the cities in Europe or cities all around the world, really, because they're ginormous. And we are forcing it. We're doing the opposite of China in many respects, where China looks to other countries' needs and creates a robust manufacturing base like that can make up for the demand that exists in foreign markets, and flood those foreign markets with incredibly affordable commodities that they want to purchase. China makes things that people want. America forces things that people don't want on them. And what's so crazy about it, what's so frustrating about it is that we are a very wealthy country. So if we wanted to, we're a very wealthy country. If we wanted to, we could focus on R&D. We could focus on building a industrial base if we chose to do so. We could focus on developing better relationships with a country like China so that we can participate in this global supply chain that we designed in a more meaningful way without trying to go to war with China. But we don't want to do any of those things. Why are you hating on American central planning? Okay, you're failing to comprehend something that I'm saying. American central planning does not benefit the labor class. American central planning benefits the capital class. American central planning has always existed. American central planning is existed in this decentralized nature, this quote unquote decentralized nature. Ironically enough, it's not. Well, what the hell? Hello? Are you there? Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Hello? Was there a brief F or something? Okay, there was a mini F. All right. American central planning exists, chatters. It has existed. We have subsidies. The problem is those subsidies go back to capital owners. They don't go back to benefiting the labor class at all. And that is the problem. Chinese central planning is done at the behest of labor. American central planning is done at the behest of what the What is happening?
Legislation to cut all taxpayer funding to woke and biased NPR and PBS, and they're sort of gone now, I guess. I heard they closed up. They were terrible. They were so unfair. They were so terrible. Officially reinstated Columbus Day. I like the name Columbus Day. The Italian people are very happy about it. Remember, when you go to the voting booths, I reinstated Columbus Day. That was an easy one. Christopher Columbus. Cut Social Security wait times by 50%, serve 65% more Social Security recipients by phone and are on track to doubling the service and performance compared to the Biden administration. We're 2.5 to 3 times better and faster. Slash VA claims backlog to the lowest number ever recorded. Created Trump accounts starting with $1,000 for every newborn baby. This is something that's become so popular. And I give Mr. and Mrs. Michael Dell Computer, who put in $6.25 billion, started with nothing, and he actually invested all that money to give to kids so that when they grow up, they have an account that might be worth a lot of money. It'll be riding with the markets, and you know they can, at 20 years old, 21 years old, they could have $100,000. They could have a lot of money. That's going to be amazing. But I give a lot of credit to Mr. and Mrs. Michael Dell. Signed an AI executive order to ensure the United States dominates the future of artificial intelligence. So we're leading China. We're leading the whole world. We're producing more electricity than we ever have because I'm allowing every one of those plants to build their own electric facility. We're giving them very, very fast approvals, unlike Los Angeles with a fire. So the federal government, I want to give a lot of credit to Lee Zeldin. The hardest approval for the 20,000 houses or more that burned down in Los Angeles because they didn't have the water. They didn't allow the water to come down from the Pacific Northwest. They routed the water into the Pacific Ocean. So we had no water there. No, he had. I would say open up the water. Open it up to the governor, to the
Is
mayor.
he stroking out? What the f is happening?
To protect a tiny little fish that's, I said, how can you have a fish when you don't have any water? It was just an excuse, I guess. But it's
Yeah, we don't have
amazing.
enough electricity. We don't have the appropriate grid for renewable energy. We don't have the grid for renewables. We don't have the grid for electric vehicles, but we have the electrical grid for data centers
permit.
So that we can do AI. We can do generative AI over and over again.
Then you have the incompetent mayor of Los
Fucking
Angeles,
awesome, dude.
Notel, who decided to go to Africa.
Meanwhile, your electricity bill is literally subsidizing that shit. Just remember that.
I got right after the fire. I went there. She said, we're working on it so that we can have everybody starting to build within 2 or 3 years. Remember that? I said, you mean 2 or 3 days? No, I mean 2 or 3 years. And the place went crazy. Well, they still haven't gotten their permits. But every federal permit, every single one has been given a year ago. And Lee Zeldin has done a great job. And he's done a great job in the approval of all these big plants and factories and all of the electricity that they're creating for themselves. I said to Zuckerberg, I said to all of them, I said to Jeff Bezos, I said to everybody. Mark Zuckerberg couldn't believe it. He said, where are we going to get all the electricity? Because you need double the electricity that the country currently makes just to fire up those big plants. I said, well, nobody can do that. So what we're going to do is let you make your own electricity. Nobody believed it.
Awesome, dude.
We're going to get you
I love it
permits,
personally.
So we get them within 2 weeks.
I'm always saying more, please. More of that. That seems good.
Plants you've ever seen. So each one of those massive buildings, AI or other.
Like, how does this benefit you exactly? If you're like a regular ass American, okay, if you're like a plumber, how does this benefit you? You only see the negative. You only experience the downsides of this when your electricity bill is like triple the number that it used to be. Okay, that's it. You don't see any benefits from this at all, dude. I can make AI edits. Okay, is that better? Cheaper electricity bill, but you don't get to make the ugliest generative AI you've ever seen versus triple the cost of your electricity bill, but then you get to make like an AI girlfriend. You get to jerk off to an AI girlfriend. I feel like that's not the cost benefit analysis here is just not making sense.
That's just a small version. We took a country that was dead, and it's the hottest country in the world right now, and that's after 1 year. So let's go. That's a lot of. Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I have 2 questions for you. One, do you want your Board of Peace to replace the UN?
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential. The UN should have settled every one of the wars that I settled. I never went to them. I never even thought to go to them. They should be able to settle those wars. They don't. I believe You got to let the UN.
You guys want to
continue
hear something
because,
really funny, by the way,
potential
about
is-
this like AI boom too? Who do you think is making the generators for all of these American data centers, by the way? We're making the RAM and we're making the GPUs and stuff. So that's beneficial for NVIDIA and whatnot. But who do you think is making those generators? Everyone in the chat knows already. Is China, baby. That's right. Is China. So the entire data center boon that you're experiencing in America is still tremendously beneficial for Chinese manufacturing. So even on that front, that's another L that this dumbass is taking.
We're doing numbers.
You don't make
that
the RAM and
nobody's
GPU.
ever thought
I just mean like
We're
at
the
least
richest we
an
ever were.
American.
It's because of
an
tariffs.
American
And the
company is at some part of that productive process, and therefore can justify these, or not justify, but like therefore it's beneficial for their stock portfolio, for their stock evaluation in general. Like that's what I mean when I say like at least the NVIDIA is putting numbers on the board, which then makes American investors feel like there's something to invest. There's still some growth, right? Tech is the one industry the US still has advantage in, but like that's also going away. China is heavily investing in the field of tech. They're heavily investing in robotics, especially. So even that area is one where like America will get squeezed out. You know,
immigration and energy. They got to stop with the windmills, and they got to go back. Like UK has an unbelievable asset called the North Sea. Norway uses it, makes a fortune. They have a better section of it, and they don't do it. They could straighten out their countries, and it would be good. But I get along.
I'm
very
not
well.
sure what you mean by China is making them. Is mostly American companies involved?
Told Norway's prime minister.
Brother, the generators that are being utilized in the data centers are being made directly in China by Chinese manufacturers. What the f- are you talking about? There's literally no other.
Well, I lost a lot of respect for Norway.
Okay,
And
sorry.
I
I didn't hear
believe,
this.
and I believe very strongly that Norway controls the Nobel Prize. But you have to understand, I settled 8 wars. I've had every one of those wars, every participant wrote, I didn't ask him to do it. They sent in strong they make recommendations.
Mr. President, you've been hearing from allies.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you so much, President Trump. Kara Castanova from Lindell TV. And you spoke earlier about the 2020 election.
Lindell TV!
Now
He said,
that
"Shut the f- up.
Heroes in U.S. custody,
A real American hero
that
again.
you could share
Michael
with us
Pillow.
regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the
that's the
2020 election.
question.
And would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
I don't think I would be doing that. I think my
This is the
lawyers
wealthiest
would
country on the planet.
Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
What happens to the tariff threat to Greenland if the Supreme Court comes out and rules against you on the tariffs? And
Well, I'll have to use something else. I mean,
are
look.
you willing to use force?
Take a look at the word license, take a look at other things. I mean, we have other alternatives. But what we're doing now is the best, the strongest, the fastest, the easiest, the least complicated.
Sir, if you move ahead with the Greenland-related tariffs on Europe, you secured almost $1 trillion of commitments from them to invest in the United States. Does that go kaput out the window if that happens?
I doubt it. Look, they need that agreement very badly with us. They really do. They fought very hard to get it. So I doubt that. But we'll see what happens. We have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland. I'm leaving tonight, as you know, for Davos. And we have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland.
Ooh, I got
And
chills.
I think things are going to work out pretty well, actually.
I cannot believe that the Venezuela QAnon thing is still going on with the Dominion voting machines. It's literally something that was.
Macron?
It's
No, I
something
wouldn't
that
do
caused wars in a court of law. Okay, like Dominion successfully sued Fox News and numerous other outlets for pursuing this idiotic defamatory statement over and over again. And they won. They won billions. It's fucking crazy.
He's not going to be there very much longer, as you know. And I think, I have meetings with the people that are directly involved, not some of the people you're talking about.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Happy
I've
New Year.
never seen this room like this. Is this a celebration of the first year? Yes. Have you ever seen it? I've never seen this many.
Yes.
I hope
We
we have a
love
very
you.
good- I hope we have a very good structural floor. This used to be a swimming pool. You're sitting over a swimming pool. I could see that happening. But we need a good structure here, don't we, huh? Yeah.
Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Happy 1-year anniversary.
Thank you.
And my question is on Syria. The Kurds, as the most loyal U.S. partners, facing attacks by some Syrian elements within the Syrian government. Will you do to ensure the Kurdish rights protected and their effective forces against terrorism in Rojava, Syria continued, as the Kurdish see you as a president does not abandon his allies?
Well, I like the Kurds, but just so you understand, the Kurds were paid tremendous amounts of money, were given oil and other things, so they were doing it for themselves, more so than they were doing it for us. But we got along with the Kurds, and we are trying to protect the Kurds. That's correct.
Ahead of your speech in
Dude, why? I mean, dude, come on. That's like that is another bipartisan thing.
I
Okay.
think more than anything else, what I'm going to be speaking about is the tremendous success that we.
America will always give weapons to the Kurds, Kurdish militias, and then very quickly go, all right, Turkey, do your thing. And now they're doing it again. Now it's happening again, this time with the HTS regime. Like, it's just, everybody saw that coming. That was, I mean,
I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to be, because, you know,
Donald Trump is like, oh yeah, we're working very hard to protect the Kurds. Meanwhile, like, Rojava is dissolved, liquidated. All of the Kurdish militias that were, I mean, there's videos coming out of the region where they're like straight up like the former ISIS militants that are now a part of like the Syrian army. The Salafist brigades are like decapitating people. And this guy's over here being like, oh, we'll save the Kurds. We'll save the Kurds. We'll save them for sure.
I have a very important call with President Erdogan, who I like a lot. I one or two more questions. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow, Israel ally SDF is dissolved. What a shame. Yeah, you're right, dude. For the record, make no mistake, I am aware of the allegiances that Kurds design for themselves in the region, America, and sometimes even Israel. But if you think that the current Syrian government is like anti-Israel, you're delusional.
Is him. Look, I inherited a terrible, it's a great question, because we inherited a terrible, terrible mess between the border, between all the problems. The whole country was falling apart. And in 12 months, less than 12 months, in 12 months, we have the strongest border we've ever had. We have prices that are much, much lower than they were for the last. We inherited very high prices. We inherited, remember this, inflation was at a historic high. We had never had inflation like that. They say 48 years, but whether it's 48 years or ever, we had the highest inflation, in my opinion, that we've ever had. Prices, because of that, were very high. I inherited, we brought down eggs immediately. Remember the first news conference, they were screaming at me about eggs. I was in the position for 2 days, and we brought eggs down to lower than what they were before. And by the way, they continue that way. We brought the prices down from when I came into office and from what Biden had, way down. We're going to bring them down further. But the job we did is a miracle. One of the reasons I'm doing this today is to explain. We inherited a mess, and we've made it a beautiful, beautiful picture. Think of gasoline at $1.99 in many states. $1.99 a gallon. It was $4.50, $5, in some cases $6 or $7. We're at $1.99. And energy is so big that with energy, everything else comes down. But the prices are coming way down, and we're going to bring them down further.
Totally.
But we started up here with these guys. We inherited a country that was broken. We inherited a country, and I have a very warm spot. We've done very well with Venezuela. And by the way, that even in itself is going to help us bring down the oil prices. The Venezuelan oil, we've taken 50 million gallons of oil. We've taken 50 million barrels of oil out of Venezuela in the first 4 days. We've got millions of barrels of oil left. We're selling it on the open market. We're bringing down oil prices incredibly. And when they come down, and they've already come down, again, $1.99 a gallon.
Are there serious journalists in there? I feel like there's not. They're not asking. Yeah, guess what, dude? There are, but they've been neutered effectively. And not only that, but also Trump just doesn't call on them.
Is the military option still on the table? And
brother, Trump just told one of these journalists to shut the up because he wanted the Mike Lindell lady with the fingerless gloves to talk, okay? What do you think is happening in that room?
Where are you from?
I'm Palestinian American.
So with Iran, they were going to hang 837 people, and I let them be known that, and we let them know that if that happens, that will be a very bad day for them. And they decided not to do it. They didn't hang the people. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future, but supposedly they've taken that off the table. But they were going to, last week, they were going to hang on Thursday or Wednesday. They were going to hang, I think, 837 people, and they didn't hang anybody. So we're just going to have to see what happens with Iran. Is the military option?
Thank you, Mr. President.
President Trump.
Thank you, President
Go
Trump.
ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Congratulations on your
President.
first year.
Go ahead, I'll take your question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Go
Mr.
ahead,
President.
right here.
Thank you, Mr. President. You promised during your second inaugural to always put America first. I'm curious, how would you winning the Nobel Peace Prize improve the lives of average, everyday Americans? Why is this prize so important?
It wouldn't improve the lives of any. What improved the lives of people are people that are living. I saved probably tens of millions of lives in the wars. You know, if you add up the numbers, just if you look at any one of those wars, you're talking about
I'm
millions
saving
of people.
lives
You
every
multiply
day.
it. But when you look at India and Pakistan,
Think about it.
That could have been 10,
I
15,
have
20
a
million
nuclear
people.
arsenal, and here I am not nuking Greenland. That's 55,000 lives I've saved by not nuking Greenland yet. I might do it. But I haven't done it yet. And therefore, all 55,000 Greenlanders are being saved. I'm the peace president.
Americans wrong to still feel high prices? And how much longer does the White House hope that they
So I
will
think a
stay
lot of
patient?
people are listening to the fake news a little bit.
Ha!
And I'm not blaming anybody. I think I blame ourselves. I think we've done a much better job than we're able to promote.
We've hired Will Stansel, brilliant guy. He's come out with a new statement. It's called Vibe Session. He calls it all the inflation rhetoric is actually all vibes. We've hired him because of his good work when Brandon was president. It's vibeflation, vibe session. It's all vibes. Everyone's being deluded by the fake news.
And they don't talk about it.
Stansel is literally doing more than you right now. Chill on the hate. First of all, suck me from the back and the front. I'm giving credit to Will Stansel for all the anti-ICE support that he's doing. But to say that like he's doing more than you right now is ridiculous. Okay, give me a break. I've been out there in the streets since the beginning of this administration.
But if you go back a year and a half, 2 years, take a look at those prices and look at the prices.
Yeah, people are quick to forget what Will Stansel had done leading up to the election. All of a sudden, three, four ride-alongs, and all of a sudden everyone's like, I mean, look, I'm gonna give him credit too. He is doing ride-alongs now. I mean, he's going out and doing Ice Watch, and that's awesome. I think that's a spectacular thing. He recognizes that the real. He recognizes what the real problem is here, which is the Trump administration. But they
have released a lot of political prisoners in Venezuela.
Mr. President, earlier on last year, you had indicated that you wanted to take back the Panama Canal. I know we've heard a lot about Greenland. Is that still on the table?
I don't want to tell you that. Sort of. I must say, sort of. That's sort of. Okay, one more. Yes, blonde, blue. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead with the blue, holding the computer.
If a consequence of your determination to take control of Greenland is the ultimate breakup of the NATO alliance, is that a price you're willing to pay?
You mean the breakup of it's very
the
interesting.
NATO alliance.
So I think something's going to happen that's going to be very good for everybody.
What?
Nobody's done more for NATO than I have, as I said before.
What?
In every way. Getting them to go up to 5% of GDP was something that nobody thought was possible. And pay. At 2% they weren't paying. At 5% they are paying. And they're buying a lot of things from us, and they're giving them, I guess, to Ukraine. That's up to them, but they're giving them to whoever they're giving them to. But they're buying a lot. I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important. How about it?
My goat is bringing about multipolarity and destroying NATO. He is forcing Europe he's forcing Europe's hand into maintaining sovereignty. My king.
I do, actually. I think God is very proud of the job I've done. And that includes for religion. You know, we're protecting a lot of people that are being killed, Christians, and Jewish people. And
Now we
lots
know
of
why
people are
Ryan
being
Ruth did what he
protected by
did.
me
Ryan
that
Ruth was a
wouldn't be
time
protected by
traveler.
another type of president.
Ryan Ruth was actually from
no,
the
I think,
future when he tried to do what he did.
I think a lot of people are very proud of the job we've done. We've had an amazing year. This has been one of the greatest years. Even some people that wouldn't necessarily love me instinctively, they're saying this was an incredible year. We've had an incredible year economically. Look at our border. Our border was a disaster. People poured. It was an invasion into our country of a lot of very bad people. Good people too, but a lot of very bad people from prisons and drug dealers and gangs and horrible people, murderers. Thousands and thousands of murderers allowed into our country. And we now have the strongest border of any country. There's probably not a country, I guess North Korea has a pretty strong border, by the way, but there's not a country in the world that has a border like we do. And we took it from the worst border. We had the worst border in the world. Now we have one of the strongest borders in the world. And one more question.
You said you're confident something's going to get worked out in Greenland, but Greenlanders have made it clear they don't want to be part of the U.S.
Well,
what gives the U.S. the right to take away that self-determination?
When I speak to them, I'm sure they'll be thrilled.
Oh, totally. Dude, yeah, he's going to convince them.
I've had such a good relationship. I've made it so much better, so much stronger. It's so good now. NATO is so much stronger now.
I kind of want to know what Asmongold is going through right now with all the Greenland conversations, because he has to watch Trump and he can't take over Greenland position. It's got to be interesting because he has a lot of Europeans in his chat.
Weak NATO. We had a NATO at 2%.
A lot of European MAGA that's like kind of pissed off at Trump right now. So I wonder what he will say.
NATO's, whether you like it or not, it's only as good as we are. If NATO doesn't have us, NATO is not very strong. Yes, no.
Thank you, President Trump.
Yes, go ahead.
Greatly appreciate it, sir. We heard a long list of accomplishments from the last year. Could you cherry pick the top 3? And then looking forward, what are your 3 most important priorities in 2026?
So I think the building of a really powerful military has been a great achievement, and that would include the Venezuela thing. That would include the attack on Iran and the wiping out of the nuclear threat. I think that's been really amazing what we've done militarily. I think what we've done in business has been incredible.
Incredible journalism,
$18 trillion coming in. Plants are being built all over the thousands.
Journalism
of
like you've never seen before.
18 trillion is a record. No country has ever come anywhere even close to that. I think that's a record. And I think that most favored nations for drugs is something that nobody thought they'd be able to get. Tariffs helped me there because the nations would have never gone along with it if I wasn't able to say, if you don't go along with it, we're going to put a 10 or a 15 or a 20% tariff on your nation. And they went along. And our drug prices are going to come down at numbers never even seen before, never even thought possible before. So those would be 3 things. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, Press. Thank you, Press.
Thank you very much.
He did the thing. He did this, the Slytherin. Thank you. Oh, that's going to be a funny ass. That's going to be a funny ass visual. I love that one. When he walks away. Oh, here it is. Here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
You will pet me, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not.